It's the Cash In Culture Morning Sports Report at TribLIVE.com. Ken Laird, Guy Junker, all brought to you by your pop culture retro gaming headquarters, Cash In Culture, with 4 great stores in Western PA. North Huntington and Bell Vernon at the 2 malls, Century 3 and Westmoreland Mall. 13 games left. The Pirates homestand continues with the Red Sox in town, the defending world champions, Guy. Is this a window of opportunity that will end at the end of this year with Russell Martin likely departing, Francisco Liriano likely departing? Or is this the beginning of what may be an Atlanta Braves-esque 90s run of success for the Pirates? What are you feeling here right now?
Well, I wouldn't compare it to the Braves, but I mean, even if you looked at the Pirates' 3 divisional titles under Jim Leyland, the third team was a lot different than the first team. And there's going to be changes on any team. I think there's still enough young. If this talent were old, if this were like the end of that run where you knew you were going to lose Bonds, Bonilla, Drabick, those guys were going to go elsewhere and you couldn't afford to keep them, then I'd say it's the end of the run. But they've got their young talent signed up for a long period of time. They're going to have to do some work. You can't just let people like Liriano and Russell Martin go and not figure out a way to replace them somehow. Maybe they don't have to let both of them go. It sure seems like, Martin, the year Martin has had, he's probably, it is true that he's priced himself out of the what they can afford to pay. They got to still have to work out something with Neil Walker, who's had a tremendous year here. So I don't think it means that the run is over at the end of this year, even if those 2 guys go. You hope the Tion's going to develop and come up, and you're going to have to replace some of the parts that leave.
Everything that the general manager, Neil Huntington, has done seems to be the long game. Very little activity at the trade deadline this year, with the exception of John Axford being picked up off waivers. Edison Volquez was a nice free agent signing in hindsight, but only for minimal money. So their plan seems to be the long game. But when you hear Liriano and others talk about not even shaking off Russell Martin through the course of a game, they trust him so much. It's one position, but you lose this catcher, everything could be different next year.
It's one position that affects 13 others, and that would be your pitching staff. A first baseman makes the rest of the infielders better, and a catcher can make the pitching staff that much better. You look at some of the numbers, and no knock on Chris Stewart. I mean, Chris Stewart's had a pretty nice year at the plate, but I don't feel as confident in what's going on the mound when Chris Stewart's in the game. Martin impressed me from the day he became a Pirate, studying video of their starters before he ever even went to Bradenton, so he had an idea what they threw before he even got there. He's a professional catcher. He's not going to hit 290 every year. This offensive season's way above. It couldn't have come at a better time, and you always look at guys in a contract year and how they seem to overproduce. So I wouldn't get real excited about that. All of a sudden at age 31, I don't think he's become a 300 hitter.
Red Sox expectations with world champs in town, do they need to sweep?
That's too hard to ask or demand or expect. 2 out of 3, I'll take. You can't lose the series to a last-place team, especially one that, there's 5, as I said yesterday, there's 5 teams in baseball with a worse record. I don't care if they're defending world champs. I don't care what they've done in the last 2 weeks. You got to take 2 out of 3. You're running out of home games. Yesterday's a perfect day off. You pick up a half a game on the Giants and the Braves while you rest. So it's looking pretty good. I mean, it really looks like it's going to come down to them and the Brewers for the second wild card spot.
Big series this weekend. We'll be on it all week here at TribLIVE.com.